Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy, and the late night not so funny man seems to have got fired, Jimmy Kimmel.
Yes, and we're all jumping up and down about it because finally, finally.
Okay, let's get right into the article, or the X, I guess you have.
Yes. And before we start, we're trying to get to 500 subscribers, so please don't forget to subscribe. It's the best way to help us out. So, according to Benny Johnson, breaking news, and this is literally just within the past few hours, I think, official ABC broadcast affiliate Nexstar is removing Jimmy Kimmel from all 32 of their ABC stations until Disney answers for Kimmel's despicable attack on Charlie Kirk. Great job, Next Media Group. Thank you for standing up for Charlie.
Yeah, and he should have been gone a long time ago. I'm glad to see it. And the reason they're giving is actually justified reason, because there could be legal consequences to this.
Yes. Do you want to see what he said first?
Yeah,
let's see. That prompted this?
Yeah, I think you have the clip, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
So Benny Johnson did put it out, but let's hope Disney doesn't get mad at us. I mean, they have no reason to.
We had some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
Okay, and I think that's good. That were the comments that kind of got him fired. That being said, it wasn't just Jimmy Kimmel that said it. It was a lot of the left-wing media. They jumped all over this. First, they said it was MAGA. Then they said it was a groiper, which is somebody that follows Nick Fuentes. Now they don't know what to say. They're inventing new words that this is non-political violence. I forget how you say the word, so I won't even try.
Well, they're trying very hard to make it seem and that it's not on their side, that it's not them. It's both sides of anything. Political violence is on both sides. We have to, but it's very clearly not. And they're having this cognitive dissonance, which is where you can't hold two different ideas in your head. And we're seeing it live happen. And it's something a lot of us in this space have been talking about for a long time. But finally, I think more and more people that are less involved in daily politics are noticing it too, which is scaring them even more.
Well, here's the difference between the right and the left. The left kind of glorifies and hopes something happens to somebody. Then one of their crazy lunatics come out of the woodwork and make it happen. And then they laugh and praise it. Not all the left, but a large majority, and even their leaders like Ilhan Omar, AOC. Who else did you say?
I mean, Jimmy Kimmel himself kind of invent things that are just simply not true.
But after they praise it, what happens is they put out a hit list on who they want to go next, and it emboldens the next person to do this. On the right, it's completely different. We disavow the violence when it happens. We don't want to see it happen again. And if it happens to a left-wing political candidate or somebody of that nature, we are not for it. We do not like it, and we make it known.
And with Jimmy Kimmel, I mean, there is all this talk about, oh, cancel culture, cancel culture. What in this case specifically, and in a lot of the ones we've been seeing, it's consequence culture. And it is the consequence culture coming from the private employers of these people and the people either learning under or being medicated by or flying with these insane people that have posted or talked about these things openly of their own volition. They're putting all of this online, and it is their employers and the people around them that say, hey, maybe we don't want to employ or be around a person that thinks that laughing at somebody losing their life, even if we don't agree with the opinions, is someone we want to be around. And that is how society gets, cleaner.
And let's not forget, cancel culture has been going on for the last 10 years, not just when it comes to your workplace. The left, we originally came from Canada. We now live in Mexico because of the political environment there. But the UK, Canada, the EU, Australia, every country but the United States. The United States is the first time where cancel culture is kind of going the other way. When the left does it, they take your job, they take your bank account, they give you tens of thousands of dollars in fine, and they throw you in jail. jail. This is protected classes and hate speech laws. That's what's kind of infecting all of these other countries. Free speech is very important, but free speech sometimes can have consequences if it reflects on your employer, and your employer doesn't want to be associated with you.
And there is a very fine line between, and I mean, we're seeing also what Pam Bondi has been doing, but there's a fine line between hate speech and not wanting to legislate that, but there being consequences and effects that just society wants to implement among others that they don't see as somebody they want to be around, which is normal and that is fine. Legislatively, though, and in consequences from the government, that is where free speech ends and that is where it must be protected. It shouldn't come into legislative action.
Yeah, I completely agree. If private industry wants to fire people or things like this, that's up to private industry. But I would also be in favor of there being protections if you're not making posts at work for you to be protected for your free speech. I know being on the right, we were targeted for over a decade. We still are being targeted. That's the thing. I would be fine for getting rid of cancel culture in general and having people just say their views online. Because what's happening when people are seeing these leftists celebrate the way they are, a lot of the moderate left is now coming over to the right, and they're going to be a lot less likely to support their political candidates in the next election. I think in these midterms, we are going to see an absolute landslide.
And a lot of them are also seeing, oh, I didn't know that this means that I may be, or I'm being lumped into with people that support this or think this or are okay with this because I'm not. But now they're finding themselves in a way politically homeless, but at the same time realizing what they've been supporting and once again going towards this whole cognitive dissonance that I'm thinking a lot are feeling. But let's see exactly what actually happened to Jimmy Kimmel. So ABC pulls Jimmy Kimmel Live off air indefinitely over Charlie Kirk comments. ABC said it was pulling the Jimmy Kimmel Live show off the air indefinitely after controversial comments by its host about the slain conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Kirk was assassinated.
And I don't know if I would call him a conservative activist. I think he was more supporting free speech and civil rights in general. Now, I know the left would disagree with that, but the mainstream media is constantly trying to put this label of activist on him, right-wing radical activist, and I don't like it at all. That being said, I guess they can say whatever they want until they lie, because now not only TPUSA, but the conservatives have a huge war chest to go after these people that are lying. It's very hard to go after an ABC News or one of these other outlets because they are lawyered up. You need a lot of money. A lot of money is now flowing in. We can stop these lies from happening. Maybe the mainstream media can come just a little bit more moderate.
And the way it happened is Federal Communications Commission Chair Brendan Carr suggested ABC's broadcast license was at risk from Kimmel's statements about Tyler Robinson, the accused ender of Kirk. And Nexstar Media Group, which is seeking FCC approval for a $6.2 billion merger with Tegna, earlier said the company owned and partnered television stations affiliated with ABC Television Network will preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live for the foreseeable future, beginning with tonight's show.
Yeah, and these stations are going to want to get their act together. Stations like CBS, you're seeing the transition because they're connected with Paramount Plus. Larry Ellison has just taken over TikTok. Paramount Plus is doing all the right things with signing the UFC, kind of going back to the middle with their mainstream media news shows. And I think that trend is going to continue to happen with Paramount Plus, CBS, and the rest of the Larry Ellison properties. But these other networks are going to be in big trouble, especially if big lawsuits start rolling in.
And one of the main things that Jimmy Kimmel said that was untrue, that it's not the first or only thing he's ever said that was untrue, and there's a myriad of examples we could give, but this one was especially egregious given what just happened and the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So Jimmy Kimmel, during his opening monologue for Monday night's show, had suggested that Tyler Robinson, the man accused of fatally shooting Kirk last week at Utah University, was aligned with President Donald Trump's MAGA, Make America Great Again movement. And again, it's this rhetoric that they have been trying to play off, saying, oh, well, his parents were Republican. He was from Utah. They were registered Republicans. He was a white boy. He obviously grew up conservative. But if you just look at what was inscribed in the bullets, one of them saying, hey, fascist, catch, it was very obvious. And then with the press conference a few days ago, given by the investigation and regarding the investigation, talking about Yes, the mother even admitted that Tyler Robinson had moved and aligned further to the left. He was supporting a lot of
Well,
LGBTQ causes and the trans movement. His partner, his roommate, they keep calling him, but his gay lover, I'll call him, or his boyfriend, was transitioning and had the delusion that he is a man who is
but
actually a woman.
the single
So
biggest piece of evidence here was actually the text messages, and they released
that's
those at the press conference as well.
yes.
Sorry to interrupt you there.
And with Tyler Robinson being more concerned about his rifle and about his lover, as he called him, than about what he had actually done, and actually fully grasping that he had taken a life, and not just a life, the life of a man who was 31 years old, had 2 children, and was probably going to be a United States president. But continuing on, the MAGA gang. So what?
Well, and I will say this, a lot of media outlets might make mistakes and say things that when news stories first break might not be true, but they
Yes.
can usually redact it. I think Jimmy Kimmel in this instance isn't going to have a chance to redact it because he has made so many mistakes in the past, and he has kind of been on the hit list, and he's bringing a lot of heat to the network when it comes to lawsuits. So although a redaction is sometimes appropriate, in this case, I don't think it's going to happen.
And because it was clear that there was some malicious intent in the comments themselves, because he said the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. The finger point, in between the finger pointing, there was grieving, he added. So clearly he was trying to pinpoint it on one side specifically, and we're just not buying it anymore. We're kind of done. Everybody is done with the lies because they've become so obvious, especially right after the investigation and the Utah commissioners came out to say exactly who this person was. This person's mother, Tyler Robinson's mother, came out to say her son was left aligned. And they're also starting to target and starting to look into other possible co-conspirators or people that were within the whole, what they're calling a left-wing terrorist radicalization group.
Well, I will say this as well. I'm thinking Jimmy Kimmel wish he was Stephen Colbert, because Colbert got fired, but they gave him a kind of farewell. They gave him a lot of good headlines when he left, so his job prospects might be a little bit better than Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel isn't going to have any love going out. He's going to go out into the darkness of night and nobody's going to say a word. At least that's what I think. There might be a lot of celebration here.
Yeah, I mean, I would still be a little bit, the last thing I'll say is they're saying that he's going to be, for the foreseeable future, indefinitely off air. Does that mean he could come back? Are they going to forgive him all of a sudden? And this indefinitely is a week only. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't think right now he deserves to be in that position if he's still willing and continues to spout just straight out lies.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's a matter of he should or shouldn't be in that position. I think he is a legal liability to the network at this point, especially when we've seen some of the other newspapers and the $15 billion lawsuit. I think it was the New York Times we reported on the other day.
Yes.
Yeah.
That Trump has started against the New York Times. So I think they're starting to see that the administration is doing something about it.
So if you like that clip, please hit subscribe and check out Nat and the Guy live.